Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I talk about random topics while I drive to work or from work. You're going to have to forgive me today, I've got a fucked up chest cold, so I might not sound exactly great. But we're going to carry on anyway, aren't we? Fuck it, we are adults here. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I don't stick to one topic, so it could start on one thing, it could move on to the next thing. I'm sorry to let you down. Not really. I also swear profusely, which I refuse to give up. Having had my childhood spent having the shit kicked out of me and soap washed out my mouth and stuff like that just for swearing, I intend to swear and make up for it now. So I don't know if anyone of you had that kind of parent where if you said something they didn't like, they used to grab the liquid soap and stick it in your mouth and swish it around. Yeah, that shit burns. Other podcasts, we can talk about that on other podcasts. Alright, so the topic for today is flattery. I don't like it. But if you've listened to my other podcast about sycophancy, you'll probably understand why I don't like it. To me, it just feels like people are lying to me. So, I know it sounds weird, but, you know, when you've got a background in people that just sort of say or do things just to get something out of you, it kind of jades the whole idea about being complimented. Plus, you know, I got a background where, you know, my family didn't really emphasize compliments or even acknowledged, you know, achievement. It was just expected of you, so you did it anyway. What you should be doing, you know, according to them, is if you didn't do it, you should be asking why you didn't do it in the first place. So, you know, excessive education, things like that weren't actually rewarded. Initiative was expected. So you should be doing this anyway. Why are you looking for praise? Like, that external validation wasn't really there. I remember I've got shitloads of little certificates and things like that from my teachers. You know, when they do the sort of token praise shit. You completed this many reading, these tiny little... Do you remember the leapfrog books or whatever they are? The little golden books, the tiny little ones? You read this many books in this week. You get this piece of paper saying, yeah, you... I've still got all of them. Weirdly enough, I collected them. Then again, I do collect things. But it's the nostalgia of positive things from my childhood that I've collected. Because, you know, it was just really emotionally stark back then. You know, coming from a poverty background, trauma background, it doesn't really have the emotional support growing up or the psychological support. It was very much a you will do this. Don't look for validation from us because it's something you should be doing anyway. We were treated as adults very early on. So we didn't really have a childhood. My domestication started at 5. And you learn as an adult would. You started off with the basics, you know, making tea, coffee, cleaning, and you got on with it. There were no meltdowns because if you did a meltdown, you got hit. So there was no saying no as well. My mum was very much into compliance and taking the submissive role us taking the submissive role in that arrangement. She was a very dominating woman. She was a bit of a fucking Valkyrie, to be honest. Don't piss her off, she will fuck you up. So, I know a lot of people might have had this kind of upbringing as well. I would love to hear the feedback to see what they got out of it. Did you come out all right, or did you come out with a shitload of complexes like I did? It's like, you guys are all right? We're all right here, right? Only some of us got broken jaws and eye sockets, or is it just me? No, it was very interesting. Besides that, you know, outside of the way I was raised, my people who tended to compliment me usually wanted to get something out of me. And it was usually something that would cost me something. Self-esteem, psychological abuse, things like this. So I don't take compliments well. Also, a large chunk of my life I had low self-esteem. I don't have it now. I have a very sarcastic wit that makes up for it. I just get a bit narky. I'm like, fuck off me. but I don't do compliments. It feels like, sucking ass. I hate that shit. I hate sycophancy. I don't like people. I mean, and there might be valid compliments out there. I do a lot of stuff. Maybe some of it merits, verbal reward, I guess. I don't know. But I don't like it. Because I've still got, my parents in the back of my head say you should be doing this anyway. Why are you looking for external validation? It's a weird dynamic. Shit was just expected of me. Or us, I should say. There were 4 of us. It was expected that you would get a job. That you would you would do the right thing. And if you didn't do the right thing, you got the shit kicked out of you. You would be compliant to, and respectful to your parents, regardless of what they did to you. There was also that loyalty they kept trying to push, which I still have not got, because sitting in the context of being abused, you don't want to be nice to these assholes. It's hurting you what they're doing. It's like I don't have that kind of. There is a phrase for it, where someone abducts you or something, and then you become loyal to them. I'm trying to remember it. Apparently, it's a fake or something like that, because it was based on a study where a woman got kidnapped or something like that, and she became compliant or something because it seemed the captors were nicer than the people who were trying to get her out of the situation. Something like that. It's based on a study or something. I'm going to have to go and look it up again, I think. Sorry, I'm coughing in your ear. My cough is all chest right now. It feels like I'm coughing up a lung. It's not very nice. I don't suggest getting it. But, it's just... Things were just expected of us. I didn't get the loyalty. I still think that loyalty should be earned. Trust should be earned. Because I've had that particular experience where my parents were abusive and they demanded respect and loyalty and trust. And then they abused it. Systematically. They did it for fucking 20 odd years. They still do it now. Except they don't physically abuse me. Because I don't live near them. I don't think they dare try and hit me now. But they use other methods like guilt tripping and hoovering and all these other kinds of things. And you sit there and think, I can see right through this shit, mate. I don't care anymore. I just don't have any kind of, emotional attachment to these people because it's been, a shit fight for 38 years. Which is horrible because I look around and some people have got really nice families and they have good relationships with their parents and stuff like that. I get along with the majority of my siblings. Actually, all my siblings. I got 2 sisters and a brother, but my parents are still kind of like a wild card. I don't have unquestionable allegiance to them. I don't. I still feel like a kid. Every time I go around there, I'm reduced to being a kid again because they still treat us like kids. But our childhood wasn't great. So the kids we're being treated as is just another extension of the abuse. So it's like, why the fuck do you think I want to come and visit you if you're going to keep doing this? It's a weird dynamic. And I feel bad about it because I know at this age they're getting old and I'm getting old. And they're not going to make it much longer. And before they go, I'd like to have some kind of relationship, but it's not happening. Because they haven't outgrown that shit they put us through, and they haven't apologized, and they haven't tried to make amends of any kind. It's just moved from one form of physical, psychological, emotional abuse to another. They've dropped the physical, but now they're using psychological and emotional abuse because it's all guilt tripping and stuff like that. And you sit there and think, this doesn't make any kind of sense for us to make a healthy foundation for any kind of relationship. It's really weird. I don't know why they bothered pushing for loyalty. Their version of loyalty is control, submission, and thereby manipulation and getting us to do things they wanted us to do that we didn't want to fucking do. Not that it was a case of being brattish or kids. Kids can be non-compliant sometimes. It's more of a case of being too big for their boots. But this was genuine fucked up shit that we didn't want to do. Weird stuff. The kind you'd flog a dead horse for, right? Don't flog a dead horse. Don't flog a horse. But, it's a weird thing you have to sit with now as an adult. But you compartmentalize... Compartmentalize it. Oh my God, I am so sick. I'm not even taking medication, I just don't care. I should be in bed. But you compartmentalize them and you say, okay, this is how they are. They don't want to move out of that box. They are making no efforts to try and make amends. Okay, so we'll keep them in that box and keep them at a distance somewhat. I haven't cut them off entirely because I think it would be cruel, but at the same time, it's like I can't let them have an effect on anything on my life. If I had kids, I sure as shit wouldn't leave them with them. I can't trust them for anything. It's an ongoing thing. But they've been put in their own special little box. Bearing in mind, it's a lovely padded little box. They're just not allowed to touch anything else in my life because they shit on it. A really good example was when they bought their farm, and it's a run-down little fucking farm because they've let it run down because they can't look after anything. I bought them 12 chickens, 3 sheep, a shitload of fruit trees and stuff like that, and I helped them. I used to, come down every weekend, do their grass, and I used to plant the orchards and do the fucking watering and shit like that because they're in their 60s. They bought the farm when they were 60, early 60s. And I'm like, this is a fucking ridiculous idea, but you want to do it, so I'll help. It's part of that people-pleasing conditioning. It's like, and the fact that they're using age now against me, apparently. It's like, we're really old, we need your help. So why did you buy a fucking farm in your 60s? This is insane. This is illogical. I don't understand it. But being the nice person, of course, that I am, definitely not a sarcastic bitch, I went down and helped them. And I put up their chicken house, and I made these fucking high-rise fucking vegetable garden box things and all this kind of extra shit. And every time they turned around and said, we need help with something, I was putting my hand up and going down there, and it's like, it would take all weekend just to help them with one job or something like that. And I had my own life, I was working full-time and stuff like that. But all the chickens died because they didn't look after them. 2 of the sheep died, 1 they gave away. And these were gifts I bought them. The fruit trees died because they didn't bother watering them. Even though I'd set them up with the fucking irrigation all you had to do is literally turn the fucking tap. That died because they didn't bother turning the fucking tap. It's like, why do I bother helping? It's like, why do I bother helping you? You just fuck it up. But it's that kind of shit. But they'll we were conditioned to be compliant and to be loyal to these people who are just a pain in the arse. So when they turn around now, and my mum turns around, and it nauseates me, to be honest. She turns around and she texts me things like, love you. And I'm going, fuck off. Where was this when I was growing up? Just these little statements. It's like, hope you checking on you, babe, and stuff like that. I'm saying, what the fuck, what? Why? It doesn't make sense. And my sister gets the same fucking texts, and she shoots them over to me, and we have a laugh because it's ridiculous. These compliments, just checking up on you, is like, no, what you're doing is you're trying to do something there. Hoovering, possibly. Keeping that umbilical cord for some fucking reason, even though you didn't want it when we were growing up. It's a weird arrangement. It's hard to have a relationship with them now. I want to look after my parents because they are old, and I think it would be cruel to abandon them at this age. But the situation they've created to perpetuate any kind of allegiance is insane. It's destructive and toxic. Bearing in mind my dad's pretty much on his way out anyway. Mum will be the one that's left over. If she got any sense in her head, she'll fucking sell that farm and just fucking find a small flat or something. She's always been a fairly self-sufficient person, but it's the stupidity of the situation. Like, why would you do this now at this age? It doesn't make sense. The tactics they use to try and keep us in connection. At the moment they're using money for my older brother and my younger sister. My older sister is pretty much set up because her husband does, he works on the rigs, and he used to do tugboats and shit. So it's a pretty well-paid job. My brother is a teacher like me. He's got a family, he's got a big house. For some reason he bought big and then, tried to pay it off afterwards. I'm going, you're insane, living outside your means. But it's what his wife wanted, and so, he's a bit under thumb. My younger sister is having fun over in the UK with an all right job, but not really a stable one. It's front desk work, so it's not something I'd call stable. It's not something you could take to a bank and say, I've got this kind of a job, I need a house. Sorry, I hope that wasn't right in your ear. But every now and again, these two will pop up to mum and dad and say, I need money. Now, bearing in mind, when I say I need money to my parents, it's never a case of, okay, it's a case that we ain't got any. I was sitting there thinking, but why are you giving money to them? It's like, oh, they needed it. It's like, I fucking need it. It's like, no, it's not favoritism. It might be some kind of divisive tactic to get us to, because they love that drama. They live for that drama. I don't know why. But all four of us kids can spot it and we go, you fucking bastards. So none of us are holding grudges against each other, but, it's stupid. It was a really stupid, but they're using it as flattery. And they're also using it as a control mechanism, because as soon as my brother asks for money, he's like, they bring it up again that he didn't pay back the last, or if he did, or, they hold it over our heads, just like Bob used to hold it over theirs. Bob was my granddad, who was an asshole, basically. He had money and he used it as a method of control. I won't be in their pocket. I refuse to. I don't ask them for shit. My dad made it very clear that I couldn't rely on him growing up. I think there was one instance where I took 50 cents or something out of his coin collection because we were, I just wanted an ice cream from the fucking school canteen. And he went fucking berserk about it. He says, don't ever fucking ask me for anything. And at that point I took him on his word. I'm like, right, fuck you. I'm tired of this shit. I think I was only 10 at the time. And it just wears on you. Don't ever ask me for anything. So after that, there was no real relationship or anything. I gave up trying to please him because he was a prick. That's just the tip of the iceberg shit. It was all other stuff surrounding that. So when he sends me his once yearly text, you alright, babe? And you laugh about it because it's like, yeah, I'm alive still. What do you want? It's weird. I don't do flattery. It feels shallow. It feels pointless. Wasn't raised for vanity. Mum didn't emphasise aesthetics. In fact, aesthetics worked against us. She didn't like us being girly, what was deemed ultra-feminine girly, pink bows and everything like that. Although my older sister was one of those ballerina types, so I don't know what happened there. It got to a certain point where she just wanted masculine girls. I suppose it was to compensate for my dad's uselessness. If we could learn to be masculines ourselves, then we wouldn't have to rely on another one. Which worked out, and it worked out well and worked out against us as well, because now it's hard to find someone who is a worthy partner, who is as capable as us, There's a big mindset where it's like, no, I won't ask for help, I'll just fucking do it myself, because I know it will get done, A lot of women are raised this way because it's just a failure for men to be men. There's initiative coming from the male species at this point is somewhat lacking. Why should we have to tell you what to do? This should be occurring in your brain already, And as a legacy as well, mothers are now raising their children not to rely on men, and men are becoming redundant. They can feel that redundancy, I think, and it makes them bitter. And that's how you get things like incels, because women don't want anything to do with these seemingly pointless, or maybe obviously pointless men, because they can do it better themselves. I guess. I don't know. It might be a bit too, in summary. But generally, yeah, that was the legacy my mum left us, as extremely confident women, incredibly independent, fiercely hyper-independent, and to the point where anyone asking us if we want help is considered an insult. Don't you tell me I can't fucking do something, I'll do it in spades. But you're supposed to be asking for help for some reason. I keep seeing it in the media. We're meant to be asking for help, but we're not. So fuck it, I'll do it myself. So anything like And that goes in hand with like it's expected of you to be that hyper independent, to not rely on anyone. So when someone flatters you, you're sitting there looking at them like they're crazy. It's like, why are you complimenting me on shit I was going to do anyway? It doesn't make sense. Compliment me when I do something that's completely out of the ordinary. And if you can find one of those instances, I'd be surprised. I'd love to know. I don't know. Learn to do some kind of random backflip or something. I don't know. But that was considered part of adulting competency as well. The aesthetics being said. Oh my God, there's the flu. Being called pretty and things like that weren't emphasized as well. It was perceived to be vanity. Looks weren't emphasized. It's like she wanted to see what we could do. Fuck looks. Looks fade. I want to see what you are good at. I want to see that you can function as a person before you sell yourself down the river because you think you're pretty and you don't have to do anything else with your life. She was very much a realist. Well, she is very much a realist. She's not dead yet. She'll be alive and kicking. Oh, fuck me. She's tough as fuck, I say. She'll be alive and kicking for fucking years after my dad goes. She's a wiry bitch. I don't know. Fucking Viking women. That's my heritage, though. I gotta respect it. She's Irish, Viking, Cockney. You can't lose. If you're gonna survive, that fucking person is gonna survive. There's like a legacy of women standing behind us going, don't you fucking bend, don't you break, you will survive, and you'll fucking triumph. It's in my genes to win, you know? I don't have a choice. My ancestors standing behind me with like shoes and belts and stuff, telling me to keep going. Don't you fucking stop. One of them's got a fucking axe. Shit. Oh my God. 5D people. Anyway. I don't know if you guys know your heritage, but you should definitely look into it. You draw an immense amount of strength from knowing that your DNA is passed through a shitload of fucked up scenarios. Thoroughly recommend. And things you're facing in this day and age is fuck nothing compared to what they've been through. Learn gratitude that way. Come on, guy, around the corner already. You're a dustbin, not a fucking tank. Christ, even I can wheel a tank. Ooh, okay, anyway. Here we go! So, sorry, my brain's getting a bit fuzzy. I don't hold much stock in vanity. I don't. You know, when you've got these celebrities and things like that that push their looks and stuff like that, I don't like it. I'm sitting there going, what else are you good for now? What else? Have you ever watched The Swan Princess? That was the kind of shit I grew up with, Swan Princess. And it's a fairy tale about this girl who gets turned into a swan by a wicked wizard and shit like that. I think it's on YouTube if you look for it. Her name was Odette. And when she first meets up with this prince, he says, you're everything I've ever wanted, you're beautiful. And she turns around and says, yeah, but what else? And that's the kind of feminist shit I grew up with. And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck else, dude? And tell me I'm pretty, what else you got? Do you know what I can bench? Fuck you. I can outbench you, bitch. That's the thing, it's like, girls these days are just pretty is enough, and it's not. These days, I say these days, it's been an age-long saga where women are deemed as baby factories that need to look pretty in a dress. I hate that. I hate that. You are negating the absolute purpose of a woman is to stand as the right arm of a man. We are to complement men as well. We stand equal to them. If you reduce us to the fact that we are uterus in a dress, you are losing out on so much good shit about us. It's insane. It's like looking at a guy and saying all he is his dick and muscles. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, no. There's so much more to a man than that. So all he has to do is get some muscles and keep an erection. It's like, no. Christ. Oh my God. And celebrities that are guys that are deemed pretty. It's like looking at what's his name? Henry Cavill. Cavill. Oh, fucked if I know. It's English anyway. It's not that he's a good actor. What the memes and all the social media is about is, oh, he's so perfectly looking, you know, he's so pretty. It's like, yeah, but what else? What can he do? He can act. Can he? Who cares? No. What else you got? That's your job. That's like looking at me and saying, she can teach. It's like, yeah, I've been doing it for years. What else can I do? Well, here's my list. Here's my CV. You know, I wanted to see that there's a greater depth to someone than just looking pretty and doing a job, you know? There's got to be more. There's got to be way more to that. There's got to be, you know, a richness to life to them. I want to know that they're not fucked up in the soul, in the moral banks, you know? They can be fucked up in the head. We're all fucked up in the head. Just not to a degree where it's, like, destructive. It's crazy. Vanity gives me shit. And thereby flattery doesn't hold any weight with me. If someone says I'm pretty, I'll be like, fuck off. I don't believe you. And I don't believe you because I'm pretty sure you're trying to get something out of me. Do I have trust issues? Yes. If you've listened to the other podcasts, you'll know why I have trust issues. It's ridiculous. People using flattery as a means to lock you into shit that you don't want to do because they think it'll serve your ego and vanity. This is how you get stuck with people. This is how you no. It's like, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, do this for me. It's manipulation as well. I mean, genuinely, some people can do things or be something that is actually worth something, that is out of the ordinary. I always look for anomalies because I love anomalies. When I'm looking at populations, I see a vast majority of a lot of the sameness, and a lot of it's just half-assed. So when I find an anomaly that is out of the ordinary, it strikes a chord with me. It's really worth something. So when I find someone that's a bit different, that's odd, not in a weird, psychotic, scary kind of way, but just stands out, it interests me. So I want to know more about it. A lot of the people I'm looking at these days just do the same dumpy shit. They wear the same dumpy clothes. They go to the same dumpy job. You're sitting there going, ugh, what are you here for? Numbers. They're here for numbers. They're not here to actually lead. They're not here to be unique, really, realistically. Everyone's unique, yes, but you're all doing the same shit in a unique way. So when I find someone who's really stands out, it interests me. I like the oddities. I see no reason to be... I mean, then again, I was raised in an individualist kind of westernized society, wasn't I? Where, you know, individualism is encouraged. If you were raised in like China or somewhere like that, collectivism would be emphasized. You want people to conform and join in and be the same. So I guess my social context has shaped that mindset. But yeah, I like the weird ones. I don't like the people who join in to get along, you know, go along to get along. They just dress the same. Everybody else is dressing the same, so we have to dress the same. I feel sorry for kids these days who've got the fashion standards. They're taking the worst parts of the 90s and rehashing them. Clothes-wise, I'm sitting there going, in the 90s we had like low-rise lace-up flared jeans. Bring that shit back. See if you can pull that off. Instead, they're bringing back the cut-off fucking dumpy-ass clothes. I'm going, wow. And they're all wearing them, despite them looking hideous. Blunt-cut bobs. I'm going, oh my God, could you have done the worst? And that's how we got the mullets again. So we got mullets again. You're bringing back the worst of it. Why would you do that? Mullets, skullets, and mustaches. I'm going, oh my God. Why? Why did you bring back the worst of it? We're rebelling against what? Fashion sense? Sexiness? What? Oh my God. Maybe they are. Yeah, maybe they're sick of the hypersexualized way things are going. And now they want to look like dumpy little shits. It's working. It's working. I am not turned on by any of them. But then again, I've got like, what, 10, 20 years on them? Gross. But yeah, flattery doesn't work. You know what's weird though, is like when they dress like, you know, something out of a dumpster and they still expect people to give them popularity points. I don't understand that. You've done nothing to deserve it. You act like assholes. It's got nothing to do with the clothes really, has it? No, it's the personality. A lot of the last social group I went to, I didn't belong to it. I never belonged to it. I can live with that. I was there for one guy. You've listened to the other podcasts. A lot of that was based on false flattery. A lot of it was compliance, compliments, fakeness. I never understood the fakeness. I never liked the fakeness. Just doesn't make sense. Sooner or later, they're going to show their true colors, and they turn out to be assholes. So it's like, why would you bother faking through flattery and stuff like that to get something out of someone? And it's always going to cost you. And it was all mind games as well. Or attempted mind games, to be honest. I mean, I've been around long enough to notice that they're mind games. I'm going, this is bullshit. I cannot believe you guys are still trying to pull this shit. There's no real upgrade to the mind games either. I mean, they're pulling the same shit now that we did I didn't do, but I saw people do in their 20s, in my 20s. So the game hasn't changed. It's like the information has been snapshotted and passed on to the next generation, and they're still doing the same dumb shit. So if you need to know where your actions are going to go, I'm right here and I can tell you where this is going. Here's your chance to avoid the dumb shit, because I've seen the end product. But they don't listen. They think they're, top tits or something, I don't know. We know what we're doing. Like in that group, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen to the girls. I know what's going to happen to girls. It's not a threat. It's just, I've seen this pattern before. I know where it goes. Individually, I can look at each individual girl and say, I know what's going to happen to you. The boys, I know what's going to happen to you. And based on what you are and your behaviors and, and the way you interact with people, I can tell you exactly where you're going with your life. It's not very original. I would have thought they would have evolved a bit more on that. But they didn't. It's weird. And it's all based on flattery to, social climb or to fit in, or, it's not very original. I look for the anomalies. I want to see something different. So when one of them stands up and says, I've got these beliefs in spiritualism or something like that, I go, oh, hello, something different. But then again, they blank you, and it's like, oh, fuck you too. I wanted to know about the spiritualism because that's my interest. But then they blank you, and it's like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to suck your ass to get information out of you, dude. If you don't want to talk about it, we won't talk about it. I've got no interest in flattery. I don't flatter people. If I compliment someone, it's a genuine compliment. If I buy someone a gift, it's a genuine gift. For example, in the last group, I bought one of the guys some sea monkeys, random as it is. But I'm a teacher, and he had this thing he was going through where he had like a magic microscope or some shit like that. He bought his camera, and he was looking at stuff under the lens. And he was picking up bugs and things and leaves and I'm going, well, that's pretty interesting for me because I like that shit too. So I got him some sea monkeys so he could... I don't even know if he used them, but I got him some sea monkeys so he could grow them and have a look at them as they develop and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of cool. I gave it to my ex-boyfriend when he was my boyfriend because I knew it would look weird coming from me. I'm going, look, your mate's interested in this. Give this to him. I'll give this to you. You give this to him. And then it will look like it came from you and, it's not going to be weird. But no, he made this big deal about it and it's like, no, you give it to him. I'm like... Fine, okay. So now I look like a tit handing him this present. I'm going, I don't even know you. I barely know you. But I just thought you might like this. As you do. Because I'm so used to working with kids when one of them says, I'm collecting tissue boxes to make fucking robots. I'm going, right, I've got 1 billion, here you go. And that's what you do. I'm so used to that. I've got a kid called Phoenix in the moment who's making robot people out of tissue boxes. Every time I get an empty one, I'm like chucking it on his desk because I go nuts. So this was another extension of this. I mean, this kid is, I say he's a kid, he's about 30 now actually, in the group. He's one of the more older ones. But, it wasn't really flattery so much as it was genuine interest to see them, you've got an interest, I want to see you work on this interest. I like that you have this interest, it seems to be intellectual and constructive, and what can I do to help? I don't know if they saw it as me sucking his ass or something like that, but the group did not like me. Yeah, fuck them. They're weird. They're a weird group. I didn't understand it. Or maybe I was flashing my cash. I don't know. It's like, weird dynamics to that group. I'll never understand that group. But I hope he did grow those sea monkeys, because I hate waste. Please go and put them in water. I give you these things to do. It's not, I'm not saying you have to, but it would be nice if you did. But I don't do flattery. I'm not gonna, that was the thing, is like the girls wanted flattery, obviously, because they're vain little pricks. Which is why they run around with their tits out and stuff like that. And so they're going, you want attention from the guys, I get that. You think getting that attention for having no bra on and jumping around and throwing your arms around guys and stuff like that will get you the attention. It'll get you some attention. Probably not the kind you want, but it'll get you some. Any guy in their right mind in that group will know that they're a fucking liability. It's like, don't go up one of those girls, dude. They're not faithful. They aren't going to stick around to help you out in the hard times, trust me. As soon as you bore them, they're going to find someone else. But, it'll get you some attention. But they wanted the flattery. They wanted someone making them feel important. And I don't know where that comes from, low self-esteem, or just, being conditioned to believe that they need to be aesthetically pleasing, to be acceptable. It's a very base way of looking at it. I don't give a shit what they look like. I want to know that they're functional. That's the way I was raised. I'd rather watch them work. Like, they work in a bar. That's a solid job. My brother used to work in a bar. That's a solid job if you can get it down. And you should be heading towards management of the bar if you're going that way, and eventually ownership, if you want to carry on down that route. Flashing your tits around the bar and expecting some rich punter to come in and pay for you. No, that's not how this works. That's just hookering. That's just being a gold digger. I don't know why they do that. I'm more interested in watching them being confident at their job and climbing that way than I am about the social climbing that goes with flashing your tits and flirting with everyone. That bugs the fuck out of me. To me, that's selling yourself out. That's a sellout. That's saying, I've got tits. While I've got them, I'm going to hook someone and exploit them. Because I swear to God, by the time you get to 40, or even 30 for me, shit starts going south, tits-wise. So don't rely on that. Get up to 40, 45, 50, 45 maybe. Those tits aren't there anymore. And the guy's not either. It's like, because he's probably found someone younger who'll do the same thing. And that's the kind of guys they're attracting. You got gold digger girls, but you got guys that will exploit gold digger girls. And when you've outlived your use, you're out. It's like, I don't want you. They fail to acknowledge that. I don't know why they do. It's like, it'll be okay, I'll hook someone in and they'll stay. It's like, no, that's not how it works. And they live for that flattery, that social approval through looks and aesthetics. I'm sitting there going, it's a shallow existence you lead. I don't know how you live with yourself, to be honest. What you should be doing is upskilling and get your own fucking pub. If you want to get a pub. Don't look for someone else to pay for your ass. It's not going to work. That's the reality of the situation. And it could be, some kind of twisted derivative of wanting that fairy tale, situation where we all get rescued. I mean, everybody wants to get fucking rescued, especially financially with the cost of living crisis. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that lotto dream. It's unrealistic. This is why we don't set our heart on it. We move through and work hard, and we keep plodding on, and we keep going. And when shit gets hard, we try harder. We don't wait for someone to bail us out, because if you wait, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. It's that hard work mentality. Don't fuck around while you're waiting for someone to come rescue you or to appreciate your tits enough to whisk you away and marry you into money. You're going to lose your life and you'll be stuck in poverty. Don't rely on it. Chances are there's always someone better looking than you anyway. Speaking from experience. Oh my God. Yes, there are. There's always someone better looking. Don't sit on your looks and assume people should, worship you. It's sick. It's vanity. It's creating a false economy as well, because they do go downhill. No amount of Botox will give you the original looks you had in your youth. It's fucking stupid. or plastic surgery, or, you know, eventually the plastic surgery adds up and you look like Catwoman, you know, that creepy ass Catwoman. You're like, what the fuck? You didn't look like this when you were 20. No, I don't know. I just think people should be putting in their hard work rather than relying on external validation and shit. I do believe in a meritocracy. If people are hardworking, I will definitely give them the credit where credit's due. Show me that you got there honestly, with hard grind, and, you know, what is it? Grease. Elbow grease, that's the one. I was thinking armpit grease, that's kind of gross. Elbow grease. Show me that you've earned it. Fuck me. I love a person who's got one of those stories that's fucking earned it, you know? You know, they come from fucking bumfucking nowhere, and they've climbed because they put the fucking work in, not because they've sucked someone's ass, not because they've you know, used part of someone else's their inheritance to build an empire. It's like, I already had what was it, like the Trump empire? It's like, I started with only $3 million. Now it's like, that's not working. That's using your family's connections and inheritance to just build on shit that was going to happen anyway. Anyone could have done that in the same circumstances. It doesn't make sense. It's like, people that come from nothing interest me. I don't care about people that have, you know, already been bolstered and positioned in life to succeed anyway. These people are, like, I was reading a study the other day, and it's like people that come from, you know, the better off universities like Cambridge and stuff like that, they're not more intelligent than anyone else. They said there was some kind of financial cutoff where the people are actually quite dumb. I thought, well, yeah, because you've never had to fight for anything. You've got no common sense. Everything's been easy. So, you know, no wonder these people aren't particularly intelligent. They might know a shitload of content about a particular thing, which is relative to their job. But when it comes to, you could be very smart when it comes to one particular content. But common sense in life, or you know, street smarts or anything like that, that's earned. You don't get given that. You take that on through living it. Some of the smartest fucking people I know come from poverty backgrounds, and that's the only reason they know that shit is because they've had to live it. It's the repeated punches to the face that make you want to block a punch. You know, it's like, ow, that hurt. Ah, fuck, it still hurts. I should block this. How do I block it so I don't fuck up my hands? I know. So it's that, you know, trial and error shit. That's the people I like. I don't give a shit about, you know, I came from Cambridge and I've got nth degrees. This is why I don't value my own degrees. It's like, I just did them. It's just a piece of paper to me. I use 1 of 5 degrees. I use my basic bachelor's of education to work, and that's it. I've got the others. I don't know what they're for. I mean, I did them because I'm fucking autistic, but, you know, and I was collecting degrees at the time. But they've probably got weight somewhere around, you know, they're probably worth something somewhere. Otherwise, people wouldn't treasure them so much. But, you know, it's just, it doesn't factor in, because that background I came from was poverty and trauma, and you earned your way, and you grind and you get on with it. That kind of shit is so abstract to me at this point. Even now, even though I've lived through like that university life side of things. It's like, you should be valuing this. I'm going, I'd rather, and I'm like tacit knowledge based as well. I love hands-on shit. Some people are abstract knowledge based. They prefer to be talking about abstract concepts and things like that. I like working with my hands to understand things. I've got sensory issues, so everything I do is sensory based anyway, which can be a blessing and a curse. It can be a blessing because I'm very good with my hands, but you know, I blow my own horn anyway, and a few other things. So it's the flu. Filthy mind. Anyway, but I prefer someone who works with their hands, who knows what they're doing, who's lived it, and if you can show me that you are competent, because that's what I value, competency. I don't value pretty. Pretty gets cut up, pretty gets scars. I prefer the scars. Scars show me that you've done something with your life and you can actually fight through something. To find someone who's pristine and pretty, never lived through anything, never had to do anything, I hate them. I do. I find them pathetic. Because it shows me that you haven't bothered to do anything. Some might argue that they're pretty because they're that competent that they don't have to fight. I'm sitting there going, it's more that you've not been tested, I think. Odds of people going through life and not being tested, or being tested and still being fine on the other side, are pretty fucking slim. I just don't believe it. I would rather see people with like arms on and shit. That's why I went to Invictus. I liked watching, it sounds so sadistic. I love watching people with arms off and shit. But I love seeing them come through the fucked up stuff that they went through to succeed and to thrive and to get on with it and, you know, and do better than most people who haven't been through those experiences. That's what I love doing. And plus watching them do like murder rugby is fucking insane. Because is it murder rugby? Wheelchair rugby. They just fuck each other up and they don't care. They're going at each other viciously. It's like, holy fuck. And even there were times when I was watching the game and I'm sitting there going, holy shit, you're going to lose another arm. Stop it. They're fucking badasses. But no, I love that kind of... That's the shit that deserves flattery. It's not how pretty you are or what dress you go or shit like that. Or, you know, it's like... You have to earn that shit. You want compliments, you want to be acknowledged, and you fucking earn it. Don't sit there and expect, oh, I've got big tits, people need to like me. That's a very niche way of looking things, isn't it? It's like tits based. It's just the only thing I can think of really, because I'm thinking like when we went through puberty as women or girls, what was the first thing that guys started paying attention to? It was your tits, wasn't it? I never had tits. I went straight from, you know, fat to anorexic, so flat chested. It's like, yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that later. That's another podcast. I'm going to have to leave it there, guys, even though I've got a very horrible voice right now. And I'm sorry if I was coughing in your ear. But I'm just saying that don't rely on other people to externally validate you with flattery. It doesn't mean anything. You can do so much more with, you know, like showing people. Don't fucking tell people, show them. There's no point. You could talk out your ass till the cows come home. Fucking show them. Don't look for validation through, you know, flattery and conniving and manipulation and stuff like that. As long as you know yourself and you're solid in yourself, you know what you can do and what you can't do, your capabilities. You'll know your self-value. There is, you know, imposter syndrome and stuff like that, and some people are just imposters, and it's not a syndrome. That's a different podcast in itself, and I'll do that another day. But the thing to take away from that is you should be looking for internal validation first. Know yourself, value yourself, compliment yourself. I mean, you ever watch that snippet about Snoop Dogg where he says, like, I want to thank myself. I want to thank myself for putting in the hours. That's what you should be aiming for. That's confidence and self-appreciation. Don't let it get into narcissism and vanity, but, you know, know what you've done. Acknowledge what you've done. Reward yourself accordingly. Then you can start looking at what other people think of you. Don't head on into the whole, I need to be socially approved and I need to be flattered into a, you know... And as soon as you start succumbing to the flattery, you make yourself liable to do things that you don't want to fucking do anyway, because so-and-so said that you're this way. You got the manipulative fuckers that will, you know, exploit people pleasers with flattery. You know, you got one of those comments, those statements, it's like, oh, but you're so helpful. It's like, yeah, that's manipulation. They want you to be compliant to their needs. If they compliment you and say, oh, but you're so helpful, it might be a genuine compliment. It might also be manipulation. They might be saying, you know, like they're conditioning you to react, because in your head you're already predisposed to think, yes, I am helpful. Okay, so I'll help this person. So you've got to be mindful of that. You know, consider the motive for their actions rather than actually the flattery. It's like, is what they're suggesting going to be good for you? Is it okay? Are you all right with the risk to reward ratio? Or is it like a manipulative technique for them to get something out of you that you don't want to do anyway? And it will probably harm you or something like that, you know? So, yeah, anyway, all right, I'm going to have to leave it there because I've got to go to work. It's already 11 past 8. I'm hoping you have a fantastic day, and I'll try and do another podcast on the way back. And I'll see you later.